his family suffered a loss, and that's why he's not with us today. So think about him today when you're going about your duties and the things that you're doing during the day. I also want to talk to you a minute about a year in the past and moving through 1 Million Cups. When we started the program, it was a great idea. Entrepreneurs talking to entrepreneurs, new businesses, old businesses. What can we learn? I've been fortunate enough to learn something every single time I've come to this event. Every time I watch the videos when I'm not here, I've learned something. And what that means is I'm able to get out of my little hole in my office and constantly learn something new from people that have already been there and done that. A little over a year ago, Dr. French came to me and asked me to build a website for him because he was rebranding his business. He had a new focus for what he wanted to do, what he wanted to accomplish, and how he wanted to brand that. So in my world, a person that has been in business since 1997 as the owner of his business, and then comes and decides to rebrand it to fit the needs of the times, is a very unique platform. So for me, this is an amazing opportunity for us to learn even more from someone who's been there, done that, and is responding to the market. So Dr. French, welcome to 1 Million Cups. Glad you came.
Appreciate you guys having me here this morning. I'm not the best public speaker, but I'll try to not put you to sleep. I appreciate the opportunity, enjoy the opportunity to get out and get my face in front of people for my own business and also for my profession. I'm an optometrist. Most of you probably have been to the optometrist. I like to kind of clarify first the two professions, optometry and ophthalmology. Ophthalmology is a specialized area of medicine where they go to med school and then they specialize in eye surgeries and like cataract surgery, refractive surgery, retinal surgeries, things like that. We, as an optometrist, can do minor surgeries, minor eye surgeries like removing foreign bodies. We just had a law passed a couple of years ago. We can do minor laser procedures. We can give injections now and remove growths and things like that from the eye. So our scope is expanding, but we're still, we're not the guy who you want to go to for cataract surgery, or if you got a stick stuck through your eye, don't come to me. Go to the ophthalmologist, let them take care of those things. We do glasses, contact lenses. We treat eye infections, eye disorders. We manage glaucoma. We manage eye disease. We can give oral medications. We can do topical medications. So we have all of that within our scope, but we are a different profession than the ophthalmologist. If a patient comes to me and they have a cataract and they're having trouble, I will refer that patient to Dr. Fitzmaurice or Dr. Elliott over here at Baptist. We're fortunate we have two very good eye surgeons in our area. They're great, and their staff is good, and they do a wonderful job. Marion said we're going to try to lean more towards the business aspect of optometry and myself and the experience I've had. And like she said, I bought the practice in 1997 from Dr. Gene Stinnett. I don't know if anybody knows Dr. Stinnett. Remembers Dr. Stinnett? Okay. Well, when I was in school at Southern College of Optometry in Memphis, my fourth year, 1994, started talking with Gene. I needed somewhere to go. I wanted to come back to Kentucky. I'm from Hopkinsville, Madisonville, close to Hopkinsville, so it seemed like a good opportunity. Started talking with Gene, we worked it out. I worked with him for about 2.5 years, and then I bought the practice in 1997. Some of the challenges, I guess, that I've encountered mostly have been kind of unique to the medical healthcare field. Things like expanding managed care. When I started out, very few people had an insurance that would cover their eye care. Now it seems like everybody has an insurance that will cover their eye care. Eye care plans, medical plans will cover it. So we've kind of had to adapt and learn more of that as we go along. The Affordable Care Act lately, has kind of thrown some challenges our way with that. Personally, I think it's a good thing. I'm seeing more people who are covered by an insurance that will, cover their visit to the office. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing. Personally, my premiums have gone up for the last 3 years. So personally, I don't know if it's such a great thing. But for my business, it's been a good deal. Marion mentioned that we did rebrand last year. I was just kind of getting in a rut. I just felt like we needed to do something different. We needed to get some new ideas, maybe head in a different direction, try to throw some new life into the practice. So I started working with a consultant, and one of the things he wanted us to do was come up with a name for our practice other than just my name. We used to answer the phone, thanks for calling Dr. French's office. That was about it. And so we came up with a name, the Family Eyesight. My staff and I tried to include them. By the way, I have a great staff. Let me throw them in there. I couldn't do anything without them. They're wonderful. They're my arms and my legs, and they really keep the place going for me. So let me throw that in there. I've got some great staff. I've got one that's currently going to leave me in about a month or two. She's got her nursing degree, so she's going to kind of move along. So I am kind of looking for someone. If you guys know of anybody, you can send them our way. Anyway, with that said, we were talking about the rebranding, and we changed the name for a couple reasons. He said he kind of wants the entity to not be more focused on me, but more focused on what we do. So Family Eyesight, that's kind of what we do, provide family eye care, general family eye care for everybody. He wanted us to develop a new website, which we did with Marion. She did a great job. It's very professional, and that has, I think, gotten us out there a little bit better in front of people who do a search online. We get more and more people now. I say, how did you hear about the office? And they say, well, I did an internet search. Internet search. And you know, it used to be the phone book, you know, and a few years ago I just, you know, no knocks on the phone book, but I quit advertising in the phone book. I took the ad out, and, you know, I just left my number in there, of course. But I think the online presence is really more important these days, and Marion can certainly help anybody with that if you need that. Come on in. Morning. Morning. So those are a couple things that he wanted us to do. There were several things that he kind of led us to understand and try. We wanted to develop a mission statement, you know, just something that says, you know, why are we here? What are we doing? What are we trying to do? You know, just kind of a simple statement to encapsulate that idea. And so the staff and I, again, came up with a mission statement. We even put it on the wall in the office there. And basically, I couldn't recite it to you today, I had to memorize it, but basically it says, we want to offer everyone the latest technology in eye care, as far as your glasses, your contacts, what's new, what's the best. We want to offer that to everybody that comes into the office in a very comfortable environment. We don't want to be pushy. We don't want to be, you know, act like we're selling something to the patient. But we just want to make sure that everybody gets good care and is offered the latest in technology and explained the latest in technology. There's something new every day that comes along. It's pretty crazy. But so we put that mission statement on the wall, and every decision we make, we go back and we say, well, is this supporting our mission statement? Is this what we want to do? You know, is this something that is going to help our patients and support our ideas here? So that's kind of how we make our decisions with any decision, whether it be our office hours, you know, whatever, how we work with patients on a day-to-day basis. Our biggest number one challenge is just you know, making the patient feel comfortable, giving them a good experience while they're in the office. I think that's the biggest challenge that we have. Some other things that he recommended. Let's see. He wanted us to, you know, do some different things that actually didn't work. So, you know, a consultant, if you ever work with one, there's going to be some good ideas and there's going to be some bad ideas. And some of the things that didn't work, he wanted us to maybe restructure our fee schedule and actually increase the fee schedule in some areas. And, you know, I tried to, I kind of worked with him on that one. I said, you know, we're in an area that it's, you know, it's not severely depressed by any means, but, you know, we felt like our fees were already, you know, about where they needed to be. And he wanted us to go up on some fees, and we tried it for a while, but, you know, it just didn't feel right to us. It didn't feel comfortable to us to do this, and we were having trouble, you know, presenting that to patients. So we kind of forgot that, went back to our old fees. We felt like they were comfortable. We were comfortable where we were. But anyway, I've owned the practice now since 1997. Dr. Stinnett retired in 1999 completely. So I've been there by myself ever since. You know, as if you're a business owner, you know what the challenges are. You know, cash flow, money, staff. I've been blessed. I have a good staff. They work well together. They'll do anything for me that I ask, and they really are great. Some of the things that I have learned as I've gone along with, from the business aspect, is just how to look at the numbers. You know, where you are, cost of goods, staff salary, net production, you know, some of those metrics. I know each business has a specific set of metrics that you look at, and the percentages are always different. But I know what my percentages need to be, and that's kind of where we stay and where we try to be. I've kind of started an incentive bonus type program with my staff. You know, I feel like they need to be rewarded if we hit a certain number for the month. You know, they do get a bonus. We started that. So that's another thing that the consultant said. You know, if you feel like you're comfortable with that, if you feel like the staff, you know, is going to get on board with that, it's something to look at to do. So we're trying that as a new thing also to see how that works for us as well. That's about it as far as the business side. It has been a challenge. I've kind of had to learn as I go, because as an optometrist in optometry school, they don't give you any business. You know, I keep everybody that I talk to that's thinking about going into optometry or any medical field where they might own their practice or an office, I said, take some business classes in undergrad, get a finance degree, you know, get some kind of business degree or a minor, because it would be very valuable to them. So if you know anybody in that position, try to push them that way. You know, they think it's all science and chemistry and anatomy and biology and microbiology and physiology and pharmacology. I could go on, but it is. But when you own your own business, some of that business experience, some of that skill can really be valuable. So I wish I had done that in undergrad or somewhere along the way. Hopefully they're giving the student doctors, more of that these days to prepare them, because there's still a lot of doctors graduating, and they're going to be in a private practice setting or somewhere where they're going to have some business skill, and hopefully they'll get that before they get into practice and not have to learn as they go like I did, trial by fire. But anyway, any questions about the practice or the profession or your eyes or anything like that? I brought some goodies. If anybody wants a glass cleaner or a cloth, grab it.
Yeah. Of course, you've been in it long enough and you've seen a change. With comparing prior years where you had minimal insurance claims and paperwork, now then you've got more. How much has this added as far as...
A tremendous amount of work that my staff has.
This has got to add a lot to your overhead as far as, because this is non-productive. You
Right.
can't bill for this.
Right.
You bill it into your
The time my staff spends, a patient calls, I'd like to make an appointment. Great. Be glad to see you. Do you have any insurance? I've got Anthem, and then I have Vision Service Plan. Great. Can I get your member number? Can I get your information? Great. We either have to, most of the plans you can look up online. punch their number in, pulls it up online, you print that out, shows that they're eligible, shows their authorization, done deal. So most are pretty straightforward, but you still have to spend that extra time on the computer. So you have to have a computer, you got to have someone that knows how to use it, you got to have internet, you know, you got to have all these things now to be able to do these things. So yes, the answer is definitely takes more time. Some of the insurances we're not familiar with takes 30 minutes on the phone figuring out what's covered, what kind of coverage they have, if they're covered, you know, and because patients don't know, you know, they don't come in going, I have a $10 copay and, you know, this eye exam benefit or whatever. They don't know. So it's really our job to do that, because the problem is the patient comes in and we don't know, and they say, well, I think I've got this coverage, and we look it up and we go, well, you do have that coverage, but hey, we're not a provider. Well, they're not going to stick around for the eye exam. We understand that. So we try to get that information as much as we can before the patient ever gets to the office. And again, I'm going to, my staff is good at that, great at that. They're getting better, because most everybody that calls or walks in the office has some kind of a coverage, and it does take a lot of time. And that is one of the biggest challenges we've had.
Do you have that broken down as in a percentage of your overhead?
No, not really. I don't have it worked in to the overhead, but you know, anymore, you know, it's just time on the phone. Most of them we're very familiar with now, so it's very quick. They can pull it up online, print it out, done deal. But some of the health insurances, I don't know if they do this on purpose. It's like muddy water. You don't know. You look it up online. It doesn't say. You call them. They're on the phone for 20 minutes. They don't know. You know. So I just wish there was one entity, and I'm sure every other healthcare professional does too, where you could go in, type in a number, it pulls up their benefits. This is what they have. This is what they're eligible for. This is their copay. This is their deductible. This is how much they've met. And say, okay, tell the patient right then and there. But it's getting better. There are some portals that will do some of that for you now, which is great. But I just wish, you know, they'd work the bugs out.
How's that affect your cash flow and receivables?
Right. Cash flow, receivables, the more you bill out to insurance, the more receivable you're going to have. The cash flow, it does kind of put a crimp on that, but anymore, you have to do it. I mean, we have to do it, because if I'm not going to say, okay, if I'm not going to find their benefit for them and utilize that benefit for them, well, they're going to go somewhere that will. So we have to do that.
You mentioned a while ago bonuses, and the IRS just come out with a new ruling that bonuses now translate back into your dollar you're paying per hour in the first 40 hours, which will affect your overtime.
Overtime, right? I haven't heard that. Thanks for sharing that. But
in other words, overtime now will be based higher than just whatever you normally pay them per hour, but that bonus goes back and gets qualified as regular wages.
So that adds to their regular, yeah.
Yes.
We're open 4 days a week, so we rarely hit 40 hours and over, so it hasn't affected us yet, but it's something that, you know, if we go along and start adding more hours, it might affect us. But usually what I do on a bonus is cut it as a paycheck, take the taxes out, because if I just pay them, you know, they're going to have to take the taxes out themselves, which is a hassle, so we just go ahead and take it out on the front end there. Yes, sir.
Charles, there obviously are some large, and I don't know if they're franchised or what, but optometry companies, we'll call them, rather than practices out there. Not Madisonville, but elsewhere. Is there a hybrid? Is there a middle ground for a professional like yourself to say, you know what, I see a need in Princeton or in Providence, or not be another optometrist, and to set up another practice perhaps split your time between the two, maybe more likely, bring an associate, et cetera. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, a lot of doctors do that. It's an idea, and I've thought about that several times. And right now, if the opportunity came up, like let's say if Dr. Troutman in Morganfield wanted to retire and he wanted to sell his practice, you know, I'd probably be interested and want to talk to him about that.
You realize this is on YouTube, so now it's on notice.
Right. Hopefully, yeah. That's just an example. I don't think he's going to sell his practice anytime soon. But, you know, I would be interested. I think that would be something I would be interested in. Getting an associate in, you know, I'm interested in that. Hopefully I'll get to the point where I will be able to do that. You know, I don't want to practice forever, so I would like to get someone in to possibly, you know, pass it on to eventually. But I think in that situation, you would want to maybe get into an established practice that's wanting to, you know, pass it on to somebody else. I think that's the best way to go. Opening cold, unless it's just an underserved area, you know, you're just going to water down the patient base. So I am interested in that, and it's a good idea. The commercial optometry, you know, lens crafters, IMR, yeah, that's out there. They have several locations, and you know, they do it their way. You know, I've never worked at one. I've never been to one. They may be great. You may get the greatest doctor in the world and have the best experience. I don't know, but I get a lot of patients who've been to those places, and sometimes I hear, you know, this, and sometimes I hear that. Not to knock them, but they are what they are.
Well, it's not a personal relationship with.
Right. You know, I wouldn't think. I wouldn't, because I would think, you know, you're probably going to get a different doctor each time you go. Who knows? But and that's, like I said, part of our mission statement. We try to make it a comfortable environment. You know, for the patient coming back, expecting the same experience every time, and hopefully providing that. Good question. Anything else? Yeah.
I remember the first time I met you, I had to go get my eyes checked because I was having problems reading stuff, and you know, my arm only got so long.
Yeah.
And it was getting longer, and
It's called old age.
no, it's called over 40 eyes. Thank you very much.
That's what it said. It's called old age.
And some of the technology you have here is really interesting. It's kind of cutting edge. It's like you would see in a larger environment and stuff, like the eye checks where we're looking at the back of the retina and things like that for diabetic checks and things of that nature.
Right.
Is there something else like that you're moving into next, or what's the next big thing there? And then the next question I have is, bringing on an associate, how would you do that? That's a kind of a gray area right now for a lot of people.
Right. First question with what's new, probably as far as glasses and contacts. Contact lenses, what has really improved since I've been in practice is bifocal contacts and contacts for astigmatism. When I first started practicing, and it was like, you want contacts and you have astigmatism, you know, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? But now it's just, they're great. They do well. They have bifocal contacts that are still not perfect, but I have a lot of patients that wear them and do real well with them. They're much better than what they used to be, much better. You know, contacts are disposable now, so it's very easy. It's healthier than it used to be. Taking care of them is easy, cleaning them. All that has gotten much better. As far as technology in the office, there are things now that are pretty incredible that will take images of the eye, scan the inside of your eye, and give you an image without dilating of the inside of the eye. It's pretty amazing. You know, there are scans they can do of the anterior segment of the eye. They can scan the retinal layer at the back of your eye and show microscopic layers. Just, you know, some really incredible things. So as we go along, these instruments and this technology will probably be in everyone's office. You know, you'll go in and you'll get your scan, you'll get your image. You know, a machine will give you an estimation of your prescription, and the doctor will come in and he'll look at the screens and talk to you for a minute, and might, you know, put you behind the proctor, but that's what it's going to be. It's getting to that, and that's probably the biggest thing that's coming next is just instrumentation. As far as glasses, what's new? You know, there's really not. They say there's new stuff, but it's really not. I mean, digital no-line bifocals and high-definition lenses and all this stuff. You know, it's pretty much the same. They're making the lenses differently, but is your vision really going to be that much better? In my experience, no. You know, things are getting better. Anti-reflective coatings that go on your lenses to keep reflection off, I think, is the thing that's really come along and gotten really good. Photochromic lenses, the ones that darken in the sunlight, everybody likes those. Everybody knows about those. Those have been around for a long time. But you know, as far as lenses themselves and glasses, you know, the biggest thing there, it's more of a fashion thing now. You know, you want the glasses that are trendy, you want this, you want that, you want who's somebody on TV is wearing this, can I get that? You know, that's the biggest thing with glasses now. Was there another question?
Bring it on.
Associate. Yeah, how would I do that? Good question. I've thought about that and I've talked to people. Probably what I would do is find someone that, you know, wanted to come here and work or needed to come here and work or whatever. Take them on as an associate. Give them some type of a base pay, and then give them part of the production that they have. You know, and just make it, you know, make it a two-way thing. Well, I'm going to pay you, but you're going to have to work if you want this much extra pay. So you want to give them some kind of an incentive, I believe, and I think that's how most places are doing that. You know, and I understand if it's a new graduate, it's going to be tough because, you know, I remember coming out, I was slow. You know, I didn't get it done. You know, I was very slow. Production wasn't great. It took me a year or two before, you know, you kind of get up to speed and get comfortable. So probably would look for somebody who's been doing it maybe for a year or two or three. A new graduate would be great, but it would certainly take a long time to get them up to speed. But that's kind of how I look at the associate thing. Question?
Yes, I was curious. I imagine you've got your service exam side, and then you've got your product, you know, glasses and contact side. And I was curious on an industry-wide. About 15 years ago, I had LASIK, so I no longer buy glasses or contacts. Is that a trend that's affecting the glasses product side?
LASIK peaked probably about 15 years ago. It seems like everybody that wanted to do LASIK or thought about doing LASIK had LASIK done. And now I get very few people asking me about it. At one time, it was like every other patient was, I want to have LASIK, I want to have LASIK. And yeah, I guess, you know, these people went and had LASIK, they had a good result, you know, they got rid of their contacts and their glasses. But what we're seeing now is not as many people are interested in having that surgery. And LASIK is a corrective surgery, it corrects your nearsightedness, it changes the shape of your cornea with the laser, excimer laser, anyway. You all probably know about that. It's a safe procedure, it's very good. It's much more, it's safer now than what it used to be, the way they do it. Anyway, now what we're seeing, these people are now 15 years older, and they can't read. I can't see up here, so they're coming in for those kind of problems. They may have had a little shift over time back to being a little bit nearsighted, or astigmatism has creeped in. So now they're needing glasses again. And yeah, you can go back and have a second procedure if it's, you know, significant enough. But most of these are pretty mild cases, and they just need a little correction, need a bifocal. So, you know, we still are seeing those patients, even though someone has LASIK and doesn't need glasses or contacts. I still want to see them every year. You know, we want to make sure their eyes are still healthy, they're doing okay, especially if they have any kind of systemic disease. Diabetes is #1, high blood pressure, heart disease, cholesterol. All those things can affect your entire body, including your eyes. So those are some things we really stress with patients. If you have any systemic disease, you know, we want to see you, we want to get it checked out. But good question.
I don't know.
of all things today. Tomorrow, I'm gonna have some surgery on my right eye, to have the cataracts removed.
Mhm.
They're gonna put a lens in there,
Mhm.
and then they're gonna start the correction of my astigmatism.
Mhm.
Now, somebody asked me, are you having LASIK? And I said, no, I don't believe that's I don't believe that's what I was told. I think it was a laser correction. I'm curious, what's the difference?
What they do now, where are you going? What city are you having?
Evansville.
Evansville.
Dr. John.
Okay, they're probably doing femtosecond laser-assisted cataract surgery, which is where they'll go in and they'll do all the incisions, even the ablation of the phacoemulsification of the lens with the laser. And while they're before they do the cataract surgery, they can go in and they can make some adjustments to the cornea with that laser to correct the astigmatism.
Okay.
So, and not huge amounts, but so they do that first, then they go and make the incisions with the laser. They go in, they cut a hole in the front of the lens capsule, and then they take this femtosecond laser. I mean, it can split a human hair into 50
Yeah, that's what I saw.
equal
Just amazing.
sections that are just as fine as you could want. It's amazing. So they go in and they bust up the lens with this laser. They suck it all out. They put the artificial lens in there. So now the cataract's gone. They've calculated the lens power to treat your nearsightedness and farsightedness. Then they've made the changes on your cornea with the laser to correct your astigmatism. You come out, you're like, wow, I can see. It's amazing. You know, anybody that needs cataract surgery these days, I say, go have it. You know, go have it. You're going to be happy.
Do you have your own lab, or do you anticipate getting a lab if you don't have?
Lab as far as make glasses?
Yes.
I don't. We send all that out to a lab in Louisville, Twin Cities, Essilor. Essilor is a major national group, and we send it all up there. You know, these days, what's happening, a lot of the vision plans that people have require you to send out the jobs to a lab. So that's one reason we do that. I tried doing some of my own in-house work one time, and you know, it was okay. It just got to be too much to take care of, too much of a hassle, so we kind of let that go. And you know, you save some money if you have high volume. You'll save some money, but you know, not a whole lot.
So you're outsourcing.
Outsourcing, yeah.
Do they, like say this pair of glasses right here, if I want a pair of lens for it, would you send the glasses with to get the new lens, or?
Right, to get a perfect fit, we would send the frame to have the lenses put in it. Now, if it's a frame that, you know, we've done before, the lab has done before, and they have the specifications, sometimes they can cut the lenses and just send them to us, and we can pop them in the frame. But it's got to be right on. Got to be right on. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a problem with, say you have third-party payers? I mean, just our business, but third-party payers where you would bill for your work, and they turn around and say, no, we don't pay that much for this procedure. Here's what we pay.
Allowables.
Allowables.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have that problem, or, and how big of a problem is it?
It's not really a problem. It's just kind of part of the deal. Anthem has an allowable, Humana has an allowable, Blue Cross or Medicare has an allowable. So they all have a different. You know, if we submit a certain code for an office visit, you know, one might pay this, one might pay that, and basically you write off the amount if you're over, you know, what they're going to allow. The problem is trying to figure out what everyone's allowable is, and trying to, you know, because if you could know that on the front end and bill that on the front end, it keeps you from having to write it off on the back end. So we're in that process of trying to learn these different insurances, what they're going to pay for what code, and that way we know what to expect when we get paid, or we can just submit the allowable to begin with.
The more I listen to you, and I guess I never put professional and medical doctor are in the same category as a real business, simply because I never realized that it is the same business. You have the same problems that somebody does, and I'm relating it to, again, our business was a service business. We'd get a new guy out of school or just learned the trade. Yeah, they teach him what to do, but they wouldn't put a time frame on how quick you got to get this thing done. The school says, oh yeah, you got it all done, and when you're done with it, he says, yeah, you did a great job. Well, fine, but he took 2 days to do it.
Yes.
You know, so you got the same problem with that.
Yeah.
We had the same problem where somebody calls, say, you know, here's a service call on a cooler that we sold, it's a warranty, and here's what we pay. No, here's what we charge. You can call somebody else.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And
right.
So basically, they're very similar
Right.
businesses that way.
Right. And you know, we it's kind of hamstrung because you know now everybody walks in the door has a plan. And
Yeah.
if you're not a provider, you don't play.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing nowadays is, and it's changing all the time.
Yeah.
It's changing all the time. You know, the way we bill, there's codes. There's a code for your procedure, your visit. There's a code for the diagnosis. So, and there might be several procedure codes. There might be several diagnosis codes. And if you don't have the dot in the right place on that form over here on line 122, section S, you know, you're going to get back. We're not going to pay you because you didn't put that dot there. And that's just how it is. So it's a headache, but it has to be done. And my staff, like I said, is very, very good.
When I go to my family doctor, he has nurse practitioners that provide most of the, is an associate similar to that, where they can practice under the umbrella of the
Yeah.
optometrist?
Right. They if I
Treated
took
to a certain level?
And, you know, they would be on their own as far as making their own decisions, making their own diagnosis, treating the patient the way they want to treat them. But they might be under, like, when we bill, I might bill under my Medicare number or my provider ID through Anthem or whatever, until they get their own number set up.
So their skill sets, education-wise, would be the same as yours in a way?
Better these days. Better.
Well, okay.
But I have the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the experience, so they might come in and be able to do 10 patients in a day, or I'm doing 25. And that's just how it is. That's how it was for me. And the more people I talk to, that's just, and you gotta get your legs. You know, you gotta get comfortable, know, you know, what button to push and who to talk to and what question to ask, and it just comes with time. Yeah.
What is the newest area of growth? And when we talked earlier when I first came in, one of the things I asked you guys whether or not you carry Costa sunglasses. Have you considered expanding a sunglass line for just the people that don't have vision issues whatsoever, becoming a location for that specifically? People are spending much more money now on sunglasses.
Yeah, and it's still kind of a health-related thing. Sun exposure, UVs, linked to cataracts, linked to macular degeneration, skin cancers around the eye. Yeah, the thing with sunglasses is that they're so retail now. You know, the Sunglass Hut at the mall, you know, Cabela's or the catalog, you go online and find what you want and buy it. But we are considering that because it's becoming more popular and more of a health issue, you know, to protect your eyes. So we're looking at expanding. We carry some Ray-Ban sunglasses, but are looking at maybe expanding into the Costas. Maybe Maui Jim is a big one too. A lot of people like. They're good quality. The company's good. They're expensive. They are expensive, but the company is really good. If you bring that frame back and you know, the lawnmower ran over it, you send it in, I'll give you a new one.
That's one of the reasons I asked you about that, because whenever my husband wanted a pair, of course, he didn't really care what they looked like because he's a man. But I say that because he's my man and he really doesn't care. But some men really care what they look like on the glasses. And whenever he decided that, you know, he could see the gnat's butt flying through the wind and I should have a pair too, I'm like,